But not all is well in the land of political discourse. I don't know if you folks have noticed. Now, I'm an American, good old red-blooded American. I live here in America. We've got a little bit of an epidemic on our hands. Coronavirus has gotten pretty bad, folks. And most people are staying at home. Because, of course, when you go out there and you work, you expose yourself to more people, increases the rate at which the coronavirus spreads, obviously. So people stay at home. And predictably, it took all of about 1 week for conservatives to lose their fucking mind. Because as it turns out, everyone staying at home is bad for the economy. Now, for a normal, sane human being, let's do some quick calculus. For a normal, sane human being, let's think, okay? There's a pandemic on. Which would we rather do to prevent economic catastrophe? Because we can't just have no solution. We have to do something about the economy. We can't just like turn it off, you know. What do? Do we allow the government to use emergency powers to seize the supply lines and institute a full quarantine along with rations, the way other countries have done and succeeded in doing, using the powers that we know work because we've used them during wartime, saving millions of lives and single-handedly propping the economy up during a pandemic? Or do we just send everyone back to work and allow millions to die so that line can go back up? Well, let me tell you, folks, I don't know what your answer is, but these happy people, they've got some answers themselves. If given the choice between dying and plunging the country I love into a Great Depression, I would happily die. Agreed. This is a no-brainer for true-blooded Americans. I was thinking the same thing. I'm ex-military. Not EX ex-military, but X, like Project X. This dude worked on Wolverine. Especially if you've lived your years, why would you want your country to crash? I am in the high-risk group. I'm 68 years old, had grandparents go through the Great Depression. They were poor to begin with and never recovered. I'd rather get the virus than destroy the country for my children and grandchildren. I am capitalist, free market advocate. I care about future generations. I am a proud business owner who does not want government help. A glorious death is more rewarding. Hashtag government control is the only thing causing universal death. Now, folks, I know. That's some cringy ass LARPing right there. But let's really think about this for a second. Let's really think about this. There are actually solutions to our current economic woes that are not sending people in to die. And these people are literally offering to trade their own lives. Do you know what fascism is? Fascism, ultranationalism, glory to the state, you know? Believing that life is lived for struggle, believing that the individual should be able to sacrifice themselves for the glory of the nation. I mean, what does this look like to you? If given the choice between dying and plunging the country I love into a Great Depression, I'd happily die. What happened to collectivism bad? Aren't these people the ones who say that collectivism is cancer? Well, I mean, they don't like collectivism when it's people organizing around their class interests, but when it's collectivism around dying to preserve the stock market of your nation state. I mean, there we go. But I think this really highlights the fundamental stupidity of the fascist mythos of living to die, because this guy's like, I will gladly die a glorious death to preserve my country. What does a glorious death look like? The glorious death is a 68-year-old fucking balding fat white guy with a thin mustache reopening his 7-Eleven that he manages so that he can continue to sell fucking 6-pack donuts and Bic lighters to a truck stopper every 15 minutes. That's his. And then 3 months later he dies in a hospital, like fucking mass grave, because they didn't have enough respirators for everyone. That's his glorious death, you know? And nobody, folks, right now better represents this decline in the facade of conservative, humanitarianism, than what we're looking at right now from none other than Ben Shapiro. Make no mistake, folks. Conservatives have always wanted you to die so the economy can be a little bit better. Just a smidgen. Where exactly was I? Every time I click on the damn thing, I end up moving. Is it here? Yeah, here we go. Every single time. Conservatives want you to die. I've said this many times before. Many times before. But right now, listen to the weasel words, dude. The question about when to reopen the economy is not unaskable. To ask it is not cruel or evil. It's a vitally important question. Even more important is getting the answer right. We can do it too soon, but we can also do it too late. Folks, this is literally just asking questions about causing a genocide. And it would be a genocide. You think when people get sent back to work to make red line go back up, it's going to be disproportionately affecting the wealthy who can afford private health care? No, my friends. It will affect the poor. And this is yet another example of wealthy people being willing to ask, like type of questions maybe, about maybe possibly, throwing people to the sacrificial pit in order to keep the economy up and avoid answering questions about restructuring our economy. Again, we could solve this. America is the most productive, wealthy nation in the history of the planet, for all we know, in the history of the entire universe. Who knows what's out there? Do you have any idea how well we could mobilize resources if we want to? But care not for the memes about from conservatives about the government being unable to muster resources when it needs to. The war machine during World War II was devastatingly efficient, and you know how they did it? Because by seizing supply lines and coordinating private enterprise for the public good, you can do shit that the free market economy would never be able to find a profit motive for. Right now, there are people who are manufacturing respirators for $18 trillion suing people who are using 3D printers to print them out for $1. That's the economy. That's right now. That's the market economy doing its work right now. Right now, we have legal battles over whether or not people should be able to produce life-saving medical equipment. That's the moral dilemma we are currently grappling with. I don't like government regulation. I'm not a tanky. I am very much in favor of a bottom-up, worker-owned approach towards most solutions. But when it comes to national crises, and I don't think this is inconsistent in the slightest. When it comes to national crises, and this is absolutely that. This is unquestionably that. I don't think it's even remotely unacceptable to consider implementing emergency powers to start to coordinate government power in favor of letting private industry solve everything. The funniest thing, of course, is that Ben Shapiro actually he committed a cardinal sin while tweeting out his genocide apologia. He noticed me. So I'm, here I am being a little mean to him. Proudly retweeted by Ben Shapiro. Okay, there we go. That's going on my Twitter forever, all right? From now on until the day I die, I have taken up a tiny, minuscule fragment of his smooth brain. His brain has been varnished in the red paint of my anarcho-syndicalist political agenda. This is collectivism, and this is class warfare, fundamentally. Here's the answer to these questions, all right? No, people shouldn't go back to work. If people start telling you to go back to work, if that's a decision you have to make individually because you have your own finances to consider, we don't know where the laws are going to be in a couple of months or weeks even, you have to make that decision. But no, we shouldn't be going back to work. No. Do you know why? Let me familiarize you guys with a little something, okay? Hold on, really quickly. You're going to like this, all right? It's a paint stream, but it's a brief one. Who here is familiar with the term flatten the curve? Perhaps you are a fan of the dick flattening meme, where the cute girl rolls the dick flattener. You put your dick in and then you flatten it into a sheet, which you can do a lot with. Well, this is kind of like that, except we're doing it to prevent a pandemic. Observe. I'm going to explain to you very, very quickly why what Ben Shapiro and other conservatives are currently just asking questions about is akin to genocide apologia and might end up causing about the same material level of suffering as like a small Holocaust. I'm not joking. That's not me being hyperbolic. Allow me to demonstrate. Let's get a nice, we'll get a black for the straight line. There we go. Look at that. Nice, clean. Okay. What color should, let's use a blue. Nah, darker blue. How about that? There we go. Watch this, folks. Now, let's say everything goes perfect when it comes to the quarantine and we successfully flatten the curve. The purpose of flattening the curve isn't keeping people from getting sick. It's making sure the total number of sick people never exceeds the capacity of our healthcare system. Now, why is the capacity of our healthcare system so low? Well, I don't know why we don't have Medicare for all either. Hey, I don't know. Okay. Who knows? But this is what happens if we do it perfect like, okay? Okay. We're good. Hey, that was pretty good. Did you see that? That was with my mouse. Did you see that? That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now, check this out, folks. Under these circumstances, with the curve being flattened, do you know what the mortality rate of COVID-19 is? It seems to be about 2%. That seems to be the case. About 2% of people who will get it will die. The vast majority of which are going to be much older, maybe 2-3%. It changes. There are a lot of different estimates, but let's just work with very simple math, okay? About 2%, most of these being very old or immunocompromised people. So while it can kill younger people, and you should be careful about that, it's not nearly as likely. Now, from my understanding, 15% of people who get COVID-19 require hospitalization at some point. Of the 2% here who die, almost all of them will require hospitalization. I mean, think about it. If it kills you, you probably need to go to the hospital over it, right? I think that makes sense. We can all agree that makes sense, no? If something is severe enough to kill you, it's probably severe enough to warrant a hospital visit. Then what happens exactly? Let's put on our thinking caps. What happens exactly if the curve doesn't get flattened and if we all go back to work super quick? So Ben Shapiro and his wealthy, here, let's make it a little more pointed. So Ben Shapiro and his oligarch friends can go back to saving up to buy a private island. Well, here's what happens. The people who get sick in an unflattened curve, when the healthcare requirements, the spike happens before the spike in the bottom curve. Okay, so you're all right for the technicality fucking, yeah, okay, sure. All right, we'll be real. Sorry if my fucking mouse drawing isn't sufficient. I'm so sorry to the statisticians in my fucking community who are irritated that I am not capable of, okay, yeah, you're right. Wow, because it happens faster, it peaks earlier. I took high school math. I'm coming. All right, we're sticking with that, you stupid piece of shit. I don't care if that's not mathematically correct. Shut up. Now listen, okay? That's good enough. Fuck you. The people who die within this range, or the people who are infected by COVID-19 under this range, are still below the maximum capacity of the hospitals. The people here, the people who would go back to work and get sick earlier than they would have under other circumstances, these people are going to still have a mortality rate of about 2 to 3%. Do you know what happens to these people? These are people the healthcare system can't accommodate. Almost every single person in this group who requires hospitalization, dead. Or at the very least, at a very high risk of death. We turn a 2 to 3% mortality rate into a 15 to 20% mortality rate, because we are no longer capable of putting out the hospital beds for people who need respirators to survive. This wouldn't just hit boomers, folks. This would hurt poor people. Young people have been going to the hospitals over COVID-19 too. in essence, not flattening the curve, just letting it burn out the way people like Ben Shapiro are advocating for, would increase the total mortality rate by a factor of 4 to 5. This is going with CDC numbers. I didn't make this up. The CDC has estimated a significant increase in the mortality rate if we are not able to flatten the curve, if we are not able to practice social distancing effectively and minimize the total number of people who are sick at the same time. Do you know what the population of the United States of America is? The population is about 340 million? So let's do some quick math, okay? 340, 320? Let's just say 300. Let's keep the math really easy. There are more than 300 people in this country, but let's just say 300, okay? So, if we were to assume then, and this is an incredibly rough estimate, that about 60%, let's just say half, really rough numbers, if 50% of the population ends up getting COVID-19 at some point, and the mortality rate is maintained at 2% because because we are able to maintain stay below the hospitalization threshold, that means about, what is that? 2% of 300 million? 6 million people? That's about 6 million people in a best case scenario projected. Oh wait, sorry. Only half the people are going to get it. 3 million, my apologies. Because we're doing only half the people get COVID. That's about 3 million people who are going down. More or less. This is no guarantee, by the way. This is just following projection numbers that we're aware of. We're nowhere near the peak of this pandemic. Not even close. Now, if we end up doing what Ben Shapiro and his oligarch buddies want you to do, where we don't flatten the curve and we all just go back to work and sacrifice people to the fucking machine god of capital, let's be really generous and say that about 2/5 of the infected population are infected outside the range of hospitalization. That might be an incredibly conservative estimate. If 150 million people end up getting infected, 2/5 of that is 60 million people, of which a mortality rate of 15%. Uh, 15%, but it would be an additional 12%. No, be additional 13% because we're looking at the 2%. 6 million, 9 million. So just using some rough math here, we're probably looking at an increase of 8 to 9 million people dead. I love mouse drawing. If what Ben Shapiro and other conservative people are advocating for. I understand this is incredibly rough math, but if you go look at the CDC and what the CDC is projecting might happen if we don't engage in any meaningful quarantine protocols, this is literally what is expected. Just do the simple math. About 300 million people in this country, more or less, approximately. And if we exceed the threshold, do you know how many hospital beds there are in this country? 1 million. That's 1 million hospital beds in this country. A fraction of a percent of the population of this country. So if at any point in time, more than 1 million human beings require hospitalization, and keep in mind, by the way, we're not just hospitalizing people for coronavirus. People still get car accidents. People still have cancer. People still have, HIV. There are plenty of things that people can go to the hospital for that aren't coronavirus. So I don't know how many hospital beds that leaves open. What, maybe half? I have no idea. Again, we're working with rough numbers here. There is a very decent likelihood that the policies conservatives are currently pushing for, that the policies that conservatives are trying to use as a desperate stopgap to prevent any consideration of restructuring our economy, might lead to an increase in the mortality of this country by millions of people. 5, 6, 7 million more, maybe? I don't know. All we have are rough estimates. It's impossible to accurately predict what's going to happen in the spread of a pandemic. But this is genocide. That is what is being advocated for here. And Ben Shapiro and the other conservatives are genocide apologists who are more concerned with preventing any discussion concerning the mobilization of the economy under a central federal effort than they are with keeping a number of people literally equivalent to the population of the Holocaust, victims from dying. I don't think we have enough gravestones. We're going to have to do mass graves. What do you think we'll write in those mass graves? How many of those people do you think will have died gloriously to save their country from the evils of from the evils of a potential federal takeover? What do you think they would write? Here lies like Bob Frederick, died still manning his post at Ace Hardware. Infected 827 people over the course of 3 months while carrying the disease before finally succumbing to it himself. Produced 1/1 billionth of a percentage point of the total GDP of the country. May he live on. What do we say about this? God damn. At least when the Nazis, you're not trying to do any Nazi apologia here, but at least there was some decent effort being put into the Nazi mythos of glorious sacrifice for the nation here. You know what I mean? Like, at least with the Nazis, no credit to the Nazis or anything, but when a Nazi says, I am going to sacrifice myself for the glory of the nation. Long live the fatherland. Long live the glorious Aryan race. That's German. That's what Germans sound like. And then they put on a uniform, and they put on a bunch of medals, and at least they just go out and die to a bullet. They just go out and die to a bullet. At least there's something. There's a little story there. There's a little something. You guys know I'm right. There's a little something there. There's he died in battle. He was at Normandy. He was in a bunker. He got blown the fuck out by some fucking British bomber. I don't know. He got hit by an artillery shell. I have no idea. There's something there. But the fascists in this country trying to mobilize people to die for their nation just want them to stand at a retail checkout counter for 8 hours a day, slowly and quietly infecting everything around them before they die hacking in a gray room filled with 700 COVID-19 sick people before being dumped into a mass grave. Truly honorable. Maybe there is. Maybe it's just because I like anime. Okay, maybe there is some glory in combat. Shit that there's some legitimacy to. But this really, how far they've fallen, right? I mean, god damn. At least you could sell the story beforehand. At least you can make a cool fucking video game out of the glorious sacrifice for the fatherland. But with this, I want games about this. If we end up not flattening the curve, if we end elongating the curve, I want there to be video games about this, okay? It needs to be like Gallipoli. You've seen the movie Gallipoli, right? The World War I movie, you know what I'm talking about? Where they've got that guy, and he's you see him raised, and he's like this cool kid. He's got friends, he's a cool guy. Great movie. I'm spoiling it for you. Eat shit. Cool guy. Really cool, living life. He travels the world. He learns, wow, World War I. I'm in Australia. I'm going to participate in World War I. I'm going to, for the glory of, Australia and Western society, I will defeat the Central Powers. And then they go, and due to some general's error, he charges out of the trenches with his gun, and he gets shot in the head. That's the moment the movie ends. They spend 2 hours characterizing this really cool guy, and then just a bullet through the brain, movie ends. That's it. Done. Fantastic movie. And that I want that energy. I want that vibe. I know it really depicts the horrors of war. It's called Gallipoli. I don't know how it's spelled either. It's depicting the horrors of war, really. It's, you talk all about glory and stuff. You take a movie like Saving Private Ryan, Saving Private Ryan does a lot to depict, sort of the horrors of war, but there's still this general feeling of brotherhood and glory as you charge forward and defeat the evil Nazis. But in reality, you know what war is to a lot of people? War is spending your entire life hoping for a future, to live your life happily with a family, and then charging out because some dumb fuck above you doesn't know how to manage a battle correctly, and then getting popped. Instant black. Done. That was your whole life. Congrats. You die at 19, you accomplish nothing, you never even saw the face of an enemy. That's warfare. Great. And that's the energy that I want for the fucking 2078's hit movie COVID-19. And it's the life of a fucking ex-military vet. He served in the Iraq War. He came back to America. He loves this country. He loves Ben Shapiro. He loves owning the libs. And then he hears about the coronavirus. Ooh, the Democratic hoax. They're trying to take down Trump. But eventually, oh, whoops, that actually was real. Not going to blame Trump for the misinformation, though. Just moving on forward. And then, oh no. People are staying inside. The red line is going down. I served my country in Iraq, and I'm going to keep serving it. And my 7-Eleven. And he hobbles out on his one leg because one was blown off by like an IED, in Iraq. And then he hobbles over, and then and for 6 months he works at the 7-Eleven, and he slowly develops the symptoms, and he gets everyone around him sick, and then he dies, and nobody could even see him on his deathbed because they didn't even have enough protective equipment to give his family to allow them to see him safely as he was dying. That's it. That's the movie I want to see. And it ends with him being dumped into a mass grave. That's what I want to see. Big old mass grave. The Washingtonian mass grave, okay? Somewhere out fucking Puget Sound. We can do it out by the bay. Just dig a big fucking hole and dump all the fucking COVID-19 dumb fucks who honestly, unironically believe that saving the red line is more important than preserving the lives of millions of human beings, That's a fucking movie. That's a movie. Sign me. I'm pitching this to Adam. For fucking YMS. That's what I'm pitching to him. He'd like it. You guys don't believe it. You don't like it. You plebeians can't appreciate the artistic majesty of my vision.